Dear students, welcome to the course of Essence of Indian Traditional Knowledge. Today's topic Rig Veda and Samaveda. In our previous topic, we have completed the overview of Vedas and classification. Overview and classification of Vedas and Vedic literature. In this topic, we will look into few details of Rig Veda and Samaveda. After completion of this lecture, you will be able to illustrate the significance of Rig Veda and you will be able to classify the parts of Samaveda. Going into the brief details of Rig Veda, Rig Veda has been originated from two Sanskrit words, Rig and Veda. This we have learned already. Veda represents knowledge, that is taken here, whereas Rig represents to praise or shine. So the knowledge what we should have to praise something is known as Rig Veda basically. Rig Veda is one of the oldest texts of Indo-Aryan civilization. It is a large collection of hymns normally known as poems. Hymns is termed as poems, which will be used to praise the gods, which we use to chant in various rituals in our day to day life. Rig Veda is constituted by 21 sakas termed as branches, consisting of 1028 hymns. Here, hymns represent poems as we have discussed, comprising of 10,600 verses. As you know, verse means typically having a rhyme form in all. Organized into these 10,600 verses are organized into 10 books known as mandalas. The books into which these 10,600 verses are organized is known as mandalas. Each mandala, that means all these 10 books, so each of this book, that mandala, consists of suktas otherwise called as hymns otherwise called as poems, formed by the individual strophes. So actually poems will be formed by strophes. What is meant by strophes? In your lower classes you could have learned a group of lines forming a section of a lyrical poem. So when we have a poem, in a poem a group of lines is termed as a strophe. So formed by individual strophes is called as a poem. So set of poems are comprised and made a book called as mandala. So this strophe in Sanskrit it is called as Rig, from where we have got the word called Rig Veda. Hope this is understandable. So in Rig Veda, more than half of the hymns, that means half of the poems in Rig Veda, just now we have said no, around 1000 poems are there in which more than half of the poems are used to invoke the following. Most importantly, what are those are? One is Indra. To invoke Indra, 250 hymns are used. 250 poems are used in order to invoke Indra. What is meant by Indra in general? That represents the natural activity like sky, lightning, weather, thunder, storms, rains, river flows, and war. All these comes under Indra in order to praise these. See, Rigveda used to praise. The poems are used to praise. In order to praise the natural activities like sky, lightning, weather, thunder, storms, rains, river flows, and war, we use around 250 poems in Rig Veda. And around 200 hymns or poems are used to invoke Agni, naturally called as fire, in order to praise or invoke the fire termed as Agni. Around 200 poems are used in Rig Veda. And just over 100 poems are used to invoke or to praise Soma, or otherwise called as moon. To praise moon or Soma, we use around 100 hymns or poems in Rig Veda. Total put together 250, 200 and 100, around 550 poems out of 1028 poems in Rig Veda are used to invoke Indra, Agni, and Soma in turn all the natural activities like sky, lightning, weather, thunderstorms, rains, river flows, war, fire, and moon. Hope this is clear. And coming to the brief details of Samaveda. Samaveda actually deals with the melodies and chants. All of you know what is melody and what is meant by chanting. Samaveda is divided into two major parts. One is Saman, one is Arkika. Saman includes the melody collections or the songs, nothing but melody collections in normal words to say what? We say it as song. And the other part is Arkika, the verse books collection, that is Samhita. Collection of something is called as Samhita. The verse books of hymns. All of we have already learned what is meant by verse. It's a form of rhyme. Lines put together to form rhyme is known as verse. So such rhymes in the form of poems are collected as samhitas, known as books normally, consists of portions of poems and detached verses. And Samaveda is said to have around 1000 sakas, that is 1000 branches, like Rig Veda has got 21 branches, that is sakas. And this relates to public worship, whereas Rig Veda is related to worshipping the nature. This is related to worshipping the public. It consists of 75 verses. Of the total, 1875 is derived from Rig Veda. 1875 are derived from Rig Veda only. Then this is a very important point. The mantras of Samaveda are known as samas. Mantras are known as samas. They have 7 swaras. What is meant by swara or musical scale, known as a musical scale? That is what we always say, origin of Indian classical music lies in Samaveda. Hope this is clear. Going into few more details of Samaveda. Out of 108 Upanishads, of total Upanishads what we have, 2 of the Upanishads are embedded into Samaveda. They are namely Chanda Yoga Upanishad and Kena Upanishad. Whereas Chanda Yoga Upanishad speculates about the origin of the universe and about space and time, how the universe has originated and what is space and what is time, that is speculated in Chanda Yoga Upanishad. Whereas Kena Upanishad tells about spiritual knowledge and its attainment and how to attain spirituality is embedded into Kena Upanishads. So, what is meant by this Upanishad? Upanishads are ancient Sanskrit texts. Upanishads are ancient Sanskrit texts that contain central philosophical concepts and ideas. Hope that is clear. So that's all a few details about Rig Veda and Samaveda. Based on that one, there are few lecture level questions which can be answered by you. Hope you will do it. That's all for this lecture. Thank you. Happy learning.